if you're not giving me the tools to garden, I can't grow a flower. So I don't know what you want me to do.
They bought this property that they think is a diamond, and really it's a dud. Can you describe like a recent situation? Feel free to use this podcast to vent, because I think it's valuable for people to hear like this kind of side of it that just doesn't get shared publicly a lot.
Yeah.
But obviously we can redact names and addresses, but like go
get them, you guys.
Yeah, and so can you describe like kind of a recent like situation that you had to deal with and kind of how the owner responded? And
again, transitional phase. I think the most recent one, transitioned over, just purchased the home, as you guys know. Ideally just didn't want to be involved at all. Just said, hey, figure this out. Here's the address. I don't know what you're going to do with it, but figure it out. Then I'm like, okay, let me just try to put my big girl pants on and figure this out. So communication amongst the owner, communication amongst the agency where we were trying to get the information from. It was like I'm beating a brick wall at this point. I couldn't get what I needed to do my job. But the expectation from that owner to do my job was still there. So it's like, if you're not giving me the tools to garden, I can't grow a flower. So I don't know what you want me to do in perspective to help you. So it was just, I think we just kind of started off that way because he had kind of like that idea of, hey, this is your job. You're supposed to be perfect at it, right? You should know how to do this, but...
Well... And I think I know the specific one you're talking about, and it's because I got looped in on these communications, on these emails, and so this was, we could say, as a duplex. There's enough duplexes; it doesn't narrow it down too much, but duplex that a new client of ours purchased, through. That didn't work with us on the agency side, but purchased this duplex where, one of the tenants was Section 8, like it's the HUD program, which if you're in Indianapolis and you do anything with Section 8, like that they can be, there's a lot of good reasons to be involved with them, but one of them is not if you want quick communication, because that's...
Or if you have anything else to do during your day except for call them.
Yeah. So they can be just very slow on communication. They're a government agency, which means like they do always eventually do their job, but they're just going to do it at their own, their own pace. And there's nothing you can do about it. If you decide to work with them, if you decide to have, a Section 8, tenants at your property, that's just one of the things that you are signing up for. So I think that was one of the challenges with this client was we couldn't have that conversation with them before. We weren't involved in the purchase. So after they close on this property, they come in with these expectations that like, oh, here's the rent rate. I'm hiring Intrigue to manage the property. I expect to have that money in my account yesterday.
Yep.
And it's like, okay, hold on. It doesn't work that way. We need to receive the money from somewhere. And it's not going to come from the tenant. It's going to come from this, the Section 8 program. And that it goes back to what you're saying, teaching people to have patience. Like we're doing everything we can. And that's something I've seen in a couple of different contexts where the clients that will introduce arbitrary deadlines. That's something that this one did, where it's like as things were just starting to, I think, unravel, where we're providing him with updates, which is like the update is we don't have an update. We're waiting to hear from this our contact at Section 8. And they're telling us they're working on it, but that's where we're at right now. And him coming back to us like, well, I need the money in my account in 24 hours or I'm switching management companies. So it's like, okay.
Well, Sorry
there's
to
nothing
see you
we
go.
can do about that.
I don't know what you want.
It was just one red flag after another. And feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but you went as far as reaching out to through the agency where he purchased the property, you reached out to the previous owner of the property because
Yep.
I think funds were being sent to him.
Exactly.
And so it was just a web that you were trying to figure out with no real direction at all.
Yeah.
When in your previous analogy, like a lot of what you do is like you're the GPS, like mapping out the most efficient path. You're free to take a left or take a right whenever you want, but like you just like your GPS wasn't even powered that day.
Oh my gosh, there was no power to it. And I think that's just the nature of myself. If I can try to, obviously I'm representing Intrigue as well as myself. And it was just, I was literally caught in between a rock and a hard space.
Mm-hmm.
There was no way for me to actually navigate the situation because one, I wasn't set up for success from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was kind of this unrealistic expectation from this person without them actually having the back end of everything. They didn't even have the knowledge of what was really going on with the property. So they just kind of handed it over and was like, figure it out. Mm-hmm. They thought all the ducks were in a row. And in reality, I had no ducks. There was nothing there. So again, you can't make everybody happy. But that's why I genuinely wish that owners too would kind of have that realistic perception of what is really going on. Like we can handle a lot of things without you being involved in the day to day, but you also have to give me the tools to succeed because there's no way for me to kind of give you a diamond and you have given me nothing to mine with. Like I have nothing to get you to the end to where you want to be.
Yeah.
But they just don't, they don't care. They don't want to be involved. They're just looking for that outcome of income. Or they truly just don't understand the process of what it takes for that property to come on board.
Yeah, that's probably one of our more common stories when we end up with a just a sort of a problem client is, they bought this property like through a wholesaler or maybe an agent that just doesn't normally do rental properties, and they're investing from out of state. They bought this property that they think is a diamond, and really it's a dud.
Yeah.
Like it's a property that could have potential, but it's like we walk it and we're like, you got to put $15K into this thing, and they think they got it turnkey, perfect condition, and then we'll communicate. Market rent rate is $1,200 a month, and they're like, I think we can get $1,500.
Yeah.
And who knows? Like maybe that expectation was given to them, or they just assess that themselves by looking at other unrealistic listings on Zillow, or something like that. And we encounter things like that so much, and so much of this job is just setting expectations and trying to like help people understand, what it is they own and how they could best be successful with it.
Absolutely. Those are my favorite. The buyers that may not have even walked the property. They just blindly purchase something and they're like, this is a golden egg. And it absolutely rarely is that the situation. But then we give them the advice of, hey, this is what we can do to try to get towards that golden egg. Where they're like, nope.
Yeah.
It's perfect already.
You mean I need to invest in upgrading?
Even
that's not part of my plan.
Oh gosh, no. How would we ever do that?
Well, speaking of capital expenditures, just for the record, for new or experienced investors listening to this, another red flag from the property management side that we just love to hear is, where's that rent money at? I have other mortgages to pay.
Yeah, I wish I haven't heard that as many times as I've heard that.
Yeah. Especially
No
when you're working
kidding.
with a client for a week.
A week,
And
yeah.
you hear that, you're just like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
I already see the writing on the wall
Yeah.
here.
That's when I start checking the outstanding vendor bills we have on the property, and I'm like, let's make sure these get paid ASAP.
Yeah.
Because things are, yeah.
Gonna go left real fast. Yeah. Especially if we don't give them the answer that they want, for sure.
Yeah, it's one of those pieces of common sense advice that you wouldn't expect you'd have to give, but maybe as much as I do think that investing in real estate is a great way to grow wealth, maybe don't invest in real estate if you are dependent on that property being cash flow positive every month, so that you can pay your bills in your personal life.
Yeah.
That's
Bingo.
that you're not in a position to own that rental property at that point, and you should, honestly, you should sell.
I think every property management company in the world would appreciate you to say that for the people in the back, because I don't think it's said enough. But again, to owners, it's not unrealistic. It's like, you guys should have this money to me, like Ryan said, by yesterday. But they don't see the hurdles that we have to jump through to get that. And it's just, again, it's another opportunity for them to complain and to think that we're not doing something that we're supposed to be doing, when, again, they have no idea the back end of what we do.
Yeah. Well, and I will say, just to be fair, because there might be people listening to this like, well, I had to micromanage my management company because, I would have never been paid rent if I didn't. And whether that's true or not, I mean, I do kind of understand owners that have this, that feel like they have to stay very hands-on because they've been burned in the past. So I guess it's important to acknowledge, like, there are bad actors in the management business for sure. People that are just kind of offering a service and sort of, just there to collect a fee, but really provide no value. I like to think that Intrigue is very far from being, a levels above that, in that we are providing every piece of value that we can. But at the end of the day, like, there are realities. Like, if a tenant's not paying their rent, like, we're not the management company that's going to go over there with a baseball bat.
Yeah.
like that. And if you think that there is, I think I actually, sometimes when I'm talking to owners, I think that they maybe they're just like, how are we going to collect rent this month? I'm like, what are you envisioning me doing?
Going to do right now. Yeah. What is happening? Yeah.
Because I'll kind of like, just like we have lots of different like kind of escalation policies in place where, if a tenant's not paying their rent, like, we will deliver notice and we will, escalate towards eviction if we have to. We'll make suggestions to subsidy programs, like if they've lost their job or something. Like, there's lots of tools, professional tools, that property managers can use to help a tenant that is delinquent on their rent get back in good standing. And we leverage all of those. That's where I do think some management companies do fall short, is like not leveraging all of the professional tools at their disposal. But yeah, we're not going over there with a Louisville Slugger, and just like, we're not strong arming people into paying rent. That's just not, that's not how this business works.
Exactly.
You can check out our full library of episodes wherever you get your podcasts.